Hello again, 240. In this video, I will go over one of the sections in Chapter 6, Playing Nice Women in Sports from 1860 to 1945. And this is part 1 of The Babe, the Texas Tomboy. The American public, or people, viewed Mildred Babe Diedrichson with a mixture of incredulity, uneasiness, and awe. Even years after her premature death in 1956, the ambiguity surrounding her life and career was palpable. Diedrichson appeared on the sports scene as the exuberant 20s were winding down and the Great Depression was beginning. By 1932, when Diedrichson became a media sensation with her record-setting exploits at the Los Angeles Olympics, the unemployment rate had reached 25%. The collapse of the economy, highlighted by thousands of closed banks, a drop of the Dow Jones stock index of over 80%, and long lines waiting for soup kitchens to open, and bewildered political and business leaders futilely attempting to find solutions, this provided a somber environment for all athletes during the decade-long depression. The fanfare publicity that surrounded star athletes of the 20s dimmed when the national mood turned gloomy as the economy tanked. Thus, when Diedrichson captured headlines with her record-shattering exploits in several sports, the public response was appreciative but subdued. The muted reaction was not simply due to the economy. It was also the result of an uncertainty of how to respond to a female athlete of incredible skill, whose multiple sport accomplishments overshadowed the best male athletes of the time. As biographer Susan Califf suggests, Diedrichson was caught in the midst of conflicting and rapidly changing notions of ideal womanhood that were sweeping through American society. The new ideas were leading to growing participation by women in the economy and politics, yet the dominant ideology asked them to remain housewives. Califf notes that the Babe defied norms. Unmarried, self-supporting, and earning big money, she implicitly rejected the economically dependent status expected of women. The hesitancy with which the general public viewed Diedrichson resulted in part from her refusal to conform to established standards. Her public comments about her lack of interest in boyfriends raised suspicions, which were accentuated by her physical appearance. A chiseled, muscular body, what one mean-spirited journalist called a hatchet face, and an unstylish short hairdo produced apprehension about her femininity and sexual orientation. Another journalist expounded on her image. This chin of the Babe's, the thin, set lips, the straight, sharp profile, the sallow suntan, undisguised by rouge, regarded in connection with her amazing athletic prowess at first acquaintance, are likely to do her no justice. Many a writer referred to her as freakish. Her exceptional physical strength and fluid body motions, her frequent participation in men's baseball and basketball games where her skill level was unquestioned, and her casual use of profanity added to public discomfort. Leading writer or journalist Paul Gallico criticized her repeatedly, giving her the unfortunate nickname of Muscle Moll. He wrote that Diedrichson's appearance and behavior raised the question as to whether she should be addressed as Miss, Mrs., Mr., or It. Diedrichson's undisguised disdain for things feminine and her overpowering athleticism naturally inflamed the fears of parents that their daughters would adopt her as a role model and become tomboys. Califf observes, her physique, her trousers and plain shirts, her short-cropped hair, and her sheer competence in the male realm of competitive sports presented an intimidating image to a culture recently attuned to the medical definitions of female homosexuality. Sports writers and social commentators spent ink on all these fears as they met its embodiment in Babe. After Babe's death, one women's physical education professor at Lamar University, which is in Texas, outside of Houston area, my mother cried when I played softball because, she said, I just don't want you to grow up to be like Babe Diedrichson. Wow. Diedrichson was born in 1911 to working-class immigrant Norwegian parents in the tough seaport town of Port Arthur, Texas, which is on the Texas Gulf Coast below Houston. She claimed that her nickname was given to her by schoolmates who admired her ability to hit a baseball like Babe Ruth. As a youngster, she exhibited a fondness for contests and hard-nosed play at which she excelled. Her parents actively encouraged her competitive nature, including her unusual practice of repeatedly jumping the front yard hedge, a skill she later said helped her win Olympic gold medal in the hurdles. When the family moved to Beaumont, which is another Gulf Coast, Houston area town, Babe's raucous behavior soon led to the designation as the worst kid on Doucette Street, because she got into frequent fights with neighborhood boys. In the 9th grade, she knocked cold a football player who challenged her to hit him on the chin. In high school, she became known as a multi-sport overachiever as she excelled in basketball, softball, volleyball, swimming, and diving, and tennis and track. 7 different fields. Unbelievable. Even before graduating from Beaumont High, Diedrichson accepted a position to become a, quote, secretary, unquote, for a Dallas insurance company at the munificent sum of $75 per month. That's a very high wage for the Depression. She typed few letters and took no shorthand because her job was to play on the firm's industrial women's basketball team that owner and sports enthusiast Melvin J. McCombs had assembled. She led the employer's casualty insurance company Golden Cyclones basketball team to national titles in 1930 and 1931. Diedrichson added to her reputation as a rebel by spurning customary loose-flowing pantaloons for a skin-tight orange satin uniform that shocked everyone. Her teammates soon adopted the same style, and other teams followed suit. In the summers, she played on the firm's softball team, slugging many a home run, and at McCombs' urging, competed on the company's track and field entry in the Amateur Athletic Union tournaments. Diedrichson pushed herself to excel in track and field, putting in long hours every day on physical conditioning and practice. In the summer of 1930, despite suffering from a badly cut foot, she set an American record in the high jump and won first place in the shot put, baseball throw, and javelin. She then set her sights on the 1932 Olympics, a dream she had held since childhood. At the 1932 AAU national meet, which also served as the Olympic qualifier, she was entered by McCombs as a one-person team, which enabled her to compete in all events, a daunting physical challenge. In one 3-hour period, she won 6 of 10 events, setting world records in the baseball throw, 272 feet, the javelin, 139 feet 3 inches, and the 80-meter hurdles at 12.1 seconds. National records in the shot put, 39 feet 6.5 inches, and the high jump, 3 feet and 3/16 inches, while also winning the long jump, 17 feet 6 inches. That's a really high long jump for those times. She also finished 4th in the discus. This effort produced 30 points. The second place team chalked up 22. She won the meet by herself. And there's a picture of her training for the 1932 Los Angeles Summer Olympic Games. And that's courtesy of Bettman and Corbis. Now a highly publicized sports figure, Diedrichson was frustrated to learn that Olympic rules restricted women to just 3 events. She thereupon set 2 world records, winning the javelin with 143 feet effort and the 80-meter hurdles at 11.7 seconds. Her effort in the high jump also should have produced a gold medal, but she was penalized by the judges for using an unorthodox and unladylike jumping style, her own modification of the Western roll technique. The perplexed judges delayed a decision for 30 minutes while they reviewed film of her jumps and thereupon ruled that, although she and Jean Shiley had tied at 5 feet 5 inches, Diedrichson had committed a foul when her head crossed the bar before her feet. But instead of disqualifying her, they awarded Diedrichson the silver medal. This bizarre turn of events aptly symbolized the controversy and confusion about gender roles that her athleticism provoked. And we will conclude in part 2.